You want me to kill you. God knows I want to. But you don't get to destroy who I am. You will go back to prison, and you will live the rest of your miserable life in a cage, knowing you'll never have Vanessa. That this city rejected you. It beat you. I beat you.
Well, Dave Filoni did it. He finally saved Star Wars, is what I would say if I was a moron. Ahsoka Episode 8, The Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Ugh, why do we gotta rip off C.S. Lewis now? Honestly, I think everyone should just go read his books instead of watch this god-awful show.
This sure really thinks it's cool when it is.
Okay.
Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord.
Guys, get it? It's a C.S. Lewis reference, and that's all it is. There's no actual meaning. Clap.
This show fucking sucks.
The episode opens viewing Thrawn's ship over the temple. Morgan tells Thrawn that the cargo transfer is complete. Then Thrawn tells Enoch to bring the Eye of Sion into the atmosphere. Enoch says that they might have a mark on where Ahsoka's ship is. Morgan says that there is little that the Jedi can do now to stop them. Thrawn tells her to never underestimate a Jedi. Then Thrawn goes and talks to the Great Mothers.
Our alliance has proven to be quite beneficial.
We are grateful to you, Grand Admiral.
And to you, Morgan Elsbeth.
I still don't quite understand the deal between the Great Mothers and Thrawn. I guess the deal was for the Great Mothers to help Thrawn track down Ezra, and the Great Mothers just get to pack up their cargo onto the Star Destroyer and leave. I mean, I guess. The Great Mothers then start talking to Morgan.
She who heard our dreams across the stars. Come forward.
Are we still not going to acknowledge that Morgan is obviously not a Night Sister? She's clearly human. She's not Dathomirian. They start doing a ritual and they start talking as if they're acknowledging that she isn't a Night Sister, but are accepting her into the Night Sisterhood anyway, which isn't how the Night Sisters work at all. They just don't accept new members that aren't Dathomirian. But whatever, I guess Dave Filoni just forgot how they work. Then this starts happening. And Thrawn is just sitting in the background, just observing. Then the mothers do this.
The blade of Talcin.
Okay, excuse me? So you're telling me that the Great Mothers can just teleport matter between galaxies? This doesn't break world building. This doesn't break world building. This doesn't break world building. If you could do that, why are we going through all this trouble of getting Thrawn's ship ready? Just teleport the cargo into the new galaxy. Just teleport the entire ship to the new galaxy. It's not that hard. The defense for this would be, but Andrew, there's a weight limit and size limit to what they can teleport. Okay, where are you pulling that information from? Because it sure ain't here. There's no limit to Night Sister magic anymore. They can just do whatever they want.
What is this? Why are they making a tornado?
Oh. Magic.
It's so much worse than you think.
What is this? What?
A stick?
Oh, it's soul.
Huh?
They called it the Blade of Talcin.
Oh no. I get the reference!
It's blue and fire.
Anyway, that entire ritual took a while to do, and at this point, Thrawn could just be attacked by Ahsoka, since this is their top priority. Anyway, then cut to Ahsoka and the crew hovering over the Koopa people for some reason, and going as slow as possible. Ahsoka, what's your game plan here? You have no idea when Thrawn is going to leave, and I don't believe that you're using these Koopa people as troops, because they are not effective in war. All they have is slingshots. If you think they're gonna put a dent in Thrawn's army, then you're hilarious. Ahsoka, do I really have to spell this out for you? I don't know why you're just chilling here. You have no idea when Thrawn is gonna leave. You should be going as fast as possible. Do I really have to spell this out for you? Anyway, then we see Ezra making a new lightsaber, and wait, hold on. Where is Ezra getting this new Kyber crystal? Because Jedi don't just have those laying around. Even during the Republic, when Huyang taught younglings how to build lightsabers, the younglings still needed to go to Ilum to obtain their own crystal. Building a lightsaber is not not something to be taken lightly. The lightsaber is the sacred weapon of the Jedi. Creating your own lightsaber is a ceremonial ritual that builds a closer bond between the creator and the Force and reaches an even better understanding of it. In the act of doing this, the creator builds a better understanding of themselves. In Season 5 of the Clone Wars, during the Younglings arc, every single youngling learns something new about themselves by the end, and they grow as characters. And even Cal Kestis, who needs to rebuild his lightsaber, goes on a path of self-discovery through this process. It would be really interesting to see what Ezra would go through while searching for a new lightsaber. But because the plot needs to move fast, because this is the final episode, we just can't be bothered with character development. So we have to throw away the sacred act of building a lightsaber. Even though Ezra doesn't need to, because Ahsoka has another one that she forgets to use. Sabine comes into the room and they begin to reminisce about Kanan Jarrus, since Huyang is the one who taught him how to build a lightsaber. Huyang says this:
How old are you?
Old enough to know that the relationship between a master and an apprentice is as challenging as it is meaningful.
Thank you for that platitude.
Not
Yeah.
an answer.
That's not an answer.
Like,
That
okay.
sounded like a Instagram post with a inspirational mountain behind the
How
text.
old are you? Old enough to know peanut butter and
I
jelly
had
go
two of
great
them.
together.
Kanan took the one.
Then Ezra finishes his lightsaber and just ignites it in this small room. He very well could have just cut a hole through the ceiling, but whatever. It was just kind of funny. Then Sabine goes outside of the ship and starts talking to Ahsoka, who is just sitting on top of the ship meditating or something, even though you should be going to stop Thrawn, but whatever. We need to hang around the Koopa people because they're cute and marketable. Then Sabine and Ahsoka begin to talk.
Your gamble paid off.
So you know.
I do.
Never thought I'd see him again.
You might not have, had you chosen differently.
Sorry.
Who knows?
You're not mad?
Over the years, I've made my share of difficult choices. Often no one understood my reasons, except my master.
That's it.
And that's that.
What? That's
it.
all she gets?
She sided with the fucking enemy.
Sigh.
So the excuse is, I forgive you for dooming the entire galaxy to a resurgent empire just to go see your boy toy. Because I used to make mistakes during the Clone Wars, and Anakin always forgave me when I did that.
Yeah.
If in the Clone Wars, Ahsoka had handed Count Dooku the means to conquer the galaxy just to go see Lux Bonteri or something, like, do you think Anakin would have been chill with that?
Seems legit.
It does feel like an AI wrote this, doesn't it?
No.
Yeah.
That's generous.
I think, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, I am flabbergasted. Ahsoka just blew off all of the atrocities that Sabine committed just so easily. Even though that if Thrawn returns and threatens the galaxy, it's all Sabine's fault. Good job, Ahsoka. You're such a great person. Then Ahsoka says this.
Train your mind. Train your body. Trust in the Force.
That'll be relevant later. Then Ezra comes out and says that he finished his lightsaber. Then we see TIE fighters coming in and they start firing. They take out the stabilizers in the ship, so Ezra and Ahsoka go down to hold the ship up. Meanwhile, the Koopa people are completely defenseless to these TIE fighters and are being shot at. It's almost like if Ahsoka wasn't here, these people wouldn't be in danger. Congratulations, Ahsoka. You're a terrible person. Then once Sabine gets the ship back up and running, this happens.
It's not just Ahsoka. It's all of that.
This decision from Sabine is legitimately insane.
What?
Fuck.
No! What?
Well, I really hope we don't need that ship.
Ticket!
No!
Why is this
How dare you insult?
I
Sabine is just a
flabbergasted.
evil character.
What?
And she just doesn't care.
Oh my god, Sabine, what on earth are you thinking? You not only destroyed one of your only forms of transportation out of this galaxy, but you've also gotten rid of the only thing that could have flown fast enough to get to Thrawn's ship in time. And on top of that, you also endangered Huyang, who, need I remind you, holds the knowledge of over 25,000 years of Jedi history. And then she just comes out of this mess and she doesn't even care. Anyway, then the crew look over the damage and distress they've caused the Koopa people and they'd continue not to care. And Ezra says this.
Sorry to state the obvious, This is gonna slow us down a bit.
Only if we let it.
I mean, yeah, it'll slow you down, but time doesn't matter to you anyway, since you act like you have all the time in the world. You've just been chilling here doing nothing with the Koopa people. Cut to Thrawn, and Enoch tells him that the strike on the Jedi shuttle was successful. Thrawn tells him that since the shuttle is down, they must prepare for a ground assault. Cut back to Ahsoka, and they've decided to ride the horse dogs from the last episode. And it's really funny considering that they are now going faster than they were before. That's crazy to me. Huyang is fixing the ship with the Koopa people, and that's weird considering that these Koopa people are looking at this piece of technology that they've never seen before and is just able to fix it, I guess. Wow, how convenient, even though this is a ship that's from a completely different galaxy. And keep in mind, these Koopa people's weapons are slingshots. I don't think they're the most technologically advanced civilization out there, let alone advanced enough to work on a ship, but whatever. Cut back to Thrawn, and we see that Morgan has gathered volunteers to defend against Ahsoka, which is so confusing because Thrawn can just leave. He doesn't need to deal with Ahsoka at all at this point, since she's just been hanging out with the Koopa people all day and doesn't really care about the mission at hand. This is actually crazy. Cut to Ahsoka and crew riding the horse dogs, and they have come to the Eye.
Looks like we're just in time.
Yeah, Sabine, you are very conveniently on time.
He's taking the Star Destroyer with him.
Yes, we know, Ezra. He is very obviously taking the Star Destroyer with him. God, Filoni, do you think we're stupid to the point where we need it to be shown to us and told to us directly multiple times for us to understand that, hey, Thrawn is leaving and he's connecting his hyperspace ring to the Star Destroyer and he's taking both ships with him back to the home galaxy? God, this show is for children. Ahsoka then talks to Huyang and asks how the repairs are going, and Huyang says that he can't promise anything while these Koopa people clearly have no idea what they're doing. Huyang, why are you just letting these Koopa people just press random buttons and crossing random wires? You could just tell them to leave so that you can work alone, because that would clearly be the best and most efficient way to do things. Then Ezra informs them about this place and what they're up against.
Look, Thrawn found this place. He woke up the witches, rebuilt his starship. It wasn't safe to come here alone.
I'm sorry, what? Thrawn woke up the witches? Could you elaborate on that statement and tell me why he did this, or better yet, how he did this? Oh, you're not going to? I love it. I would love for at least one character in this godforsaken show to please tell me what is going on in any scene in this show. But no, we can't do that because Dave Filoni simply doesn't have the time. Cut to Thrawn looking at the map of the area, and the droids tell him that Ahsoka is coming from the north. Thrawn tells his crew to rain hellfire upon them, and that there will be no negotiations with the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. I love key jangling.
It's bizarre that they're not dead.
How are they How are they this bad at
They're the protagonist.
Remember in season 3 of Rebels when Thrawn did this in the Chimera from space, and it nearly destroyed the entire Rebel base, and it only did
Tis but a scratch.
Whoa, what happened here, Thrawn? Where was the hellfire you said you wanted on them? And what was with that god-awful aim? These cannons don't even try. This is just amazing. Anyway, then Ahsoka just gets through the door easily without any issue, which is, again, amazing. Then Thrawn tells Morgan to dispatch the night troopers that volunteered from earlier in the episode. Then once Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine are inside, the night troopers come in and start attacking them, thus beginning one of the most anticlimactic fights ever. Ahsoka even tells Sabine to switch to blasters, like I'm playing Raid Shadow Legends and I'm telling my characters to do a certain move, which is just bizarre. Filoni, you can't just have Sabine switch. It's fine. Blasters would obviously be the better weapon to use in this scenario. Just have Sabine switch to blasters. You don't have to tell us this. Then Ezra actually starts doing something and Ahsoka force pushes a few of them. Why she doesn't do it to the rest of them, I don't know, but whatever. Anyway, once they're done with that, they just stand around like they have nowhere to be, even though their objective is to stop Thrawn from leaving, which is very close to happening. All they have to do is run up the stairs, but no, we gotta stop and look cool, I guess.
What is this? They're just swinging their lightsabers.
There we go, we're actually doing something.
Hey, these are just video game NPCs.
People say this has choreography.
Yeah, you're right, it is like Beat Saber.
Oh, she's so cool.
Then cut to the Great Mothers singing Kumbaya in a circle, and this happens. What are we summoning?
Kumbaya, my lord.
What? No.
Also,
No. No.
yeah.
No. 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 No.
To cheat death is a power only one has achieved.
They're not even
Why are the zombies
efficient
shooting?
anymore. They're so much worse now. What is this?
So the Night Sisters can make zombies. That'll be relevant later. And man, the choreography is just beyond comprehension in this scene. Ahsoka, what are you doing? Stop standing there and do something. Listen, I'm just saying, if this was a level in Jedi Fallen Order, I would clap every single one of these stupid little zombies in this room. And it's also crazy that Ahsoka isn't running up the stairs to get to the objective. Cut to Thrawn telling Morgan that they're gonna need more time. So Morgan must sacrifice herself to stop Ahsoka. Then Thrawn says, "For the Empire," which is just so bizarre to hear coming from him, considering that the Empire was incredibly xenophobic, and most officers despised him because he wasn't human. He gained the respect of the Emperor through working his way up the ranks of the system. But Thrawn never served the Empire purely for the Empire's sake. His intentions were only to ever serve the greater good of his own people, the Chiss Ascendancy. So for him to say, "for the Empire," is just a complete misunderstanding of the character, and it's just sad to see this happen to Thrawn. And then to add on to the terribly written dialogue, Morgan says, "for Dathomir," which is bizarre considering 1, she's not Dathomirian, and number 2, apparently Night Sisters aren't Dathomirian, since their origin is now from this completely different galaxy on the planet called Peridia? Okay. Anyway, don't think about it and just consume. Cut to Ahsoka, Ezra, and Sabine, and the door explodes behind them. It's crazy that these zombies have these explosives because they could have been used earlier. And then Ezra seals the door and they finally decide to run up the stairs to stop Thrawn. Once they run up the stairs, they run into Morgan. And yet again, Ahsoka tells Ezra and Sabine to go on without her, and Ahsoka will fight Morgan alone. Even though fighting 3v1 would guarantee your victory over Morgan and you would kill her even quicker, thus making Thrawn's return even less likely. And also, hey Morgan, didn't Thrawn specifically tell you to stop them from getting closer to defeating him? Why are you just letting Sabine and Ezra go? Morgan, you're an idiot. Anyway, then they fight, and it's probably the least clunky fight in the show, but to be clear, it's still terrible. Morgan keeps touching the blade of her sword, which is made of fire. Ahsoka's posture is still off, and at no point in the fight do they look like they're trying to kill each other. They aren't aiming at each other at all, they're just aiming for each other's blades. Cut to Ezra and Sabine and they run into these death troopers. Okay. Hold on. How on God's green earth do these guys have Beskar armor? And if it's not Beskar, what is it? Why is this armor deflecting blaster bolts? Why, Dave? Tell me why. Also, during this fight, Ezra loses his lightsaber. Cut to Thrawn and he walks into the control room of the Eye of Sion and tells the pilots to take them out. Get back to Sabine and she's getting beat by this zombie who conveniently pulls off her helmet. And then her lightsaber just falls off her belt? Okay, that's also convenience. Then she gets her pistol knocked out of her hand as well? Wow, okay, I thought Sabine was a Mandalorian warrior. How is she this bad at holding weapons? Anyway, then we see Ezra is also terrible at fighting this zombie, even though he should be able to force push him off the ledge.
Use the force on them, for fuck's sake.
Ezra, you trained with the Force for the past 10 years. Throw him off the cliff.
Then Sabine tries to use the Force and...
No, stop.
It'll get worse.
Stop.
What's about to happen is worse.
And the shark has jumped.
And we're done.
All right, and now the idea of the Force is completely broken, and the entire universe is broken. Anyway, then the ship starts taking off, and Sabine and Ezra are no longer able to get on the ship. But then Sabine gets the idea to push Ezra up to the ship. And Ezra dies. No, he doesn't, but imagine that would be so funny. I wish. Anyway, this happens.
Seconds ago.
Nope. She's Jedi Master now, so...
Dies. What? She could just push bodies? I'm
Double
dead.
jump.
Yep.
It would have been hilarious if she failed and just fell to his death.
Good job, Dave. And before you start spewing in the comments, but George Lucas said anyone can use the Force, you're wrong, because he obviously walked that statement back when he introduced the idea of the midichlorians in the prequels. It's set up so that there's a threshold. And also, when Yoda is describing the Force and says,
"For my ally is the Force, and a powerful ally it is. Life creates it, makes it grow. Its energy surrounds us and binds us. Luminous beings are we, not this crude matter."
By the word us, he means Luke and Yoda as Force users. The Force flows through all living things, but only few are able to harness it. And if this is how the Force works, then why didn't the Republic make an army of Force-wielding clones? Why didn't the Empire make an army of Force-wielding soldiers? Why didn't the First Order make an army of Force-wielding children? You see the problem here? The defense against this is, oh, but it takes rigorous training for a normal person to be able to do this. Well, if we use Sabine as an example, it takes barely any effort at all. She goes from not being able to move a cup to throwing a human being more than 50 feet into the air. Seems easy for a certain disciplined army that was trained rigorously. Anyway, then it's Sabine's turn and she decides to go help Ahsoka, even though that the main objective is to stop Thrawn from escaping, but whatever, these people have no concept of priorities at all. Also, when she comes in, it's like nobody saw her at all, even though that it was a pretty open area, but whatever. We need the cool reveal. Anyway, then they start fighting again, and Ahsoka is fighting Morgan, and Sabine fights the zombies with absolutely no technique. She's just wailing about. And then Morgan just dies. Wow, okay, what an anticlimactic end to a character that's been in the show since the first scene, and was set up in another show. I guess Dave just doesn't have time for epic send-offs. Cut to Thrawn, and the Great Mothers inform him that Morgan is dead. Thrawn just kind of says whatever and then moves on. Even though that the mothers are able to resurrect her and make her a zombie, I guess they just forgot how to do that. Anyway, then we see Ezra, who hasn't moved this entire time and has just been watching Ahsoka and Sabine fight, even though that his main objective is to stop Thrawn, aka the guy he sacrificed his life to defeat 10 years ago. He doesn't even help Ahsoka and Sabine, he just stands there doing nothing. Then the trooper's walkie-talkie goes off and says that reinforcements are coming. Then we see Sabine and Ahsoka continue to fight, and Sabine says that Ezra is going home. She doesn't even bring up Thrawn at all in this conversation. It's just, where is Ezra? He's going home. Not even, oh, he's going to kill Thrawn. Nope, nothing like that. They have completely forgotten the mission. And then they start running somewhere, and the zombies just start running after them, even though that they have blasters that they can shoot. I don't know why they're trying to close the distance, but whatever. Cut to Thrawn, and he decides to open fire on the temple, even though that the last time he did this, it failed, so I don't know why he thinks doing it again will work. Also, his main priority is just to get out of atmosphere as soon as possible. There's no need to fire. Also, need I remind you that these zombies are volunteers. They volunteered to stay behind for the Empire and now are being shot by the Empire. That's crazy. Also, I think it's funny that these zombies have some sense of moral code, because that means by default that makes them better people than Sabine. Cut to Ahsoka and Sabine, and the zombies have finally started firing on them. And they just jump off the edge and land on the Jedi ship, with Huyang, who fixed the ship with the incompetent Koopa people. Then they start going into space to try to stop Thrawn, and he actually calls them. He starts talking to her and comparing her to Anakin, because that's the only thing that the show can ever do. Also, I like how it's written that he used tactics that Anakin used and compared them to Ahsoka and said that they were similar, which is just insulting to Anakin. Anakin Skywalker would not be this slow and inept at completing a mission. If anything, he would have done it quicker knowing how hasty he is. Thrawn wouldn't stand a chance against Anakin if this was the tactic that he would use. Anakin would slap him within 30 seconds. Anyway, then Thrawn escapes. Yeah, that's right. The bad guys win in the stupidest way possible. Ahsoka and Sabine lost, and it's all Sabine's fault since the very beginning. Ahsoka and Sabine then go hang out with the Koopa people. Oh my god, I can't make this up. I can't believe someone wrote this. And hey, you know Baylan and Shin? You know, the people who haven't been in this entire episode up until now? Well, Shin is now hanging out with the bandits for some reason, and Baylan is now chilling with the Mortis gods because this show needs more references. Then we see a mysterious ship land inside the hangar of a rebel starship. Hera and her guards raise their weapons. A night trooper comes out with his hands raised. Then Chopper rolls up to the trooper, and the trooper lays his hand on Chopper. Then the trooper takes off his mask, and it's revealed to be Ezra Bridger. Wow, it's gonna be amazing to see Hera and Ezra reunite after 10 years and finally hug. Anyway, the scene cuts immediately after they look at each other, barely giving us any time to absorb the scene and see how these characters react.
At which point, none of these other people should recognize him.
What?
None of these other people should know
like,
who he is.
oh my goodness, and only one person in the whole room should recognize him.
Why can't the reunions between the Rebels characters be impactful in any way?
I feel anything? Let me feel something.
It's because they're built on absolutely terrible premises.
This guy is practically her son. She should be running to him, crying.
Why are they just like...
We didn't even get to see them hug!
Why are they just like...
Napoleon meme. Just there's nothing we can do.
They were literally going in for a hug, and then it just wiped away to a different scene. And people have the audacity to defend this episode.
What a baffling editing decision. Jesus Christ.
This is the reunion between two characters who haven't seen each other in 10 years and who were basically mother and son. And he was going in for a hug, and they just cut to the next scene.
Cut away.
Why can't the show do anything right?
No, you don't understand. It's not over yet.
I saw this piece of fan art that was made a day after the episode came out, and this single picture makes me feel more emotions than the entirety of the show. Thank you to whoever who made this. You made my day. But Dave, you can burn in hell for what you've done. Anyway, then we abruptly cut to Ahsoka and Sabine on Peridea, and Ahsoka has the audacity to say Sabine did well, considering that all of this is her fault. This could have all been avoided if she A, never left Ahsoka's ship with the ball, thus allowing Shin to have the ability to steal it, and B, never gave Baylan the map. Oh, and C, actually focused on the mission when she was given all of her weapons back in episode 6, and at least attempted to kill Thrawn. And finally D, focused on the mission at all, and stop talking to each other and actually attempt to, you know, stop Thrawn from galvanizing the Imperial remnants? But whatever, Dave forgot how to make a successful defeat. Oh, and then this happens.
There's still more to go.
Stop noticing something in the distance. Stop noticing something in the distance. Stop looking around, there's nothing.
Felt like I screwed up, but that's a fleeting feeling. I can just walk away. I wish it was a Death Star, but it's not.
What are they looking at?
Guilty.
What are we looking at?
This planet.
Just a second.
Cut to the thing we're looking at!
We're really lingering.
God, I remember when this theme meant something to me.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, it's Anakin.
Why? How are you here? Why are you here? Don't you have a son? You should be talking to him.
Where is Luke? Is he safe? Is he all right?
I don't know, he's just chilling on his little planet with his crab droids making a weird base. Why is Anakin here, and why does he look so proud? Also, why is he not going to Luke right now to tell him that Thrawn is coming back and a lot of stuff is gonna go terribly wrong? God, there's so many issues with him just being here, and Sabine being able to sense his presence, but you know what? I'm not even gonna get into it, because this show does not deserve my attention anymore, frankly. And then the show ends, finally freeing me from my self-inflicted torture. I mean, I guess it's time to talk about the characters. It's surprising how much screen time Ahsoka gets in comparison to how little they do with her character. Ahsoka is a character who has overstayed her welcome. After that moment on Malachor, her character arc that had been building through Rebels and even Clone Wars is complete. She has announced that she's put the Jedi ways behind herself, and isn't fighting Vader to redeem him, she's fighting him to avenge her fallen master and friend. Ahsoka dying is the best case scenario, because not only does it bring a satisfying conclusion to a character that we've followed for years and have watched her grow up till this moment, but also adds more character development to the most iconic villain in all of cinema. But no, she must survive because Dave Filoni needs to save his OC waifu. And what is there left to develop her as a character? Well, not much. This show tries to artificially build this idea that Ahsoka needs a Jedi Padawan, even though that the last time we saw her, she announced herself not to be a Jedi. I guess during the 10 years since we've seen her, she decided that she's a Jedi again? That would have been an interesting character arc to play with in this show, but apparently not. Instead, we must artificially create this tension between her and Sabine, because during the 10-year gap, Ahsoka was training Sabine as a Jedi, apparently. That would have been something worth seeing in a flashback, or even base the entire show off of that, but it doesn't matter. This scene doesn't mean anything because we don't know anything about the relationship. We have no context. Speaking of Sabine, what a train wreck of a characterization. Remember when she was just a space punk who liked explosions and was good at drawing? I wish we could go back to that time. Now, not only is Sabine a Mandalorian princess, sharpshooter, artist, master engineer, and previous Darksaber holder who was literally established not to be Force sensitive, is now Force sensitive because Dave wants her to be. Man, and y'all thought Rey was a Mary Sue. Wait till you get a load of Sabine. Also, add add on to this terribly written character and you take into account what she does in the show, she is a super villain. She sold out the entirety of the galaxy to go see her boy toy. The boy toy whose legacy that she just stomped all over and spit on and completely undermined his sacrifice. And to add on to that, Sabine is actively avoiding any consequences for her actions. She never fully regrets her actions, and if anything, her actions are justified and supported by Ahsoka. Wow, what great character writing. Hera is another character that's been completely butchered. I've already outlined extensively why she was completely destroyed in episode 4, but other than that, she has zero personality. The only trait that she has in the show is, I'm a general, and that's it. Forget all the memorable characterization from Rebels, she doesn't even do anything when seeing Ezra for the first time in 10 years. Speaking of Ezra, talk about a bumbling idiot. His reunion with Sabine was heartless, and he keeps getting clowned on by everyone in the show. He doesn't even take his lightsaber because the Force is all he needs. And then he gets thrown into a house by Shin, force pushing him. So much for the Force being all you need. He even gets beat by a zombie. That's crazy. And then he gets to Thrawn's ship and he has a perfect opportunity to kill Thrawn, but he runs like a coward. Wow, Dave. What great character writing. Anyway, let's talk about the villains of the show. I'm tired of people saying that Baylan is a good character because I apologize. He's not. Rest in peace, Ray Stevenson, but there's only so much you can do. I thought Baylan was well performed and probably the best in the show, but Baylan is terribly written. His motivations are never made clear, other than power, and he has so much meta knowledge about everything that he only exists to dump exposition on us. Shin is literally perfect. I cannot critique her. Moving on. Thrawn is another character that's been bastardized. So yeah, there's Ahsoka. I'm not even gonna do a summary. Goodbye. 0 out of 10.